Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Good evening. It's Monday, June 21st. Thanks for joining us. I'm Amitha Sharma in for Maya Trabulsi. Get ready to set sail. The cruise industry is coming back to San Diego, and with it, thousands of guests that will boost the local economy. KPBS health reporter Matt Hoffman says COVID-19 vaccinations are at the heart of the industry's comeback.
These gigantic ships haven't been hanging around at the port for the last year and a half.
At the B Street Pier, Holland America Lines is announcing a return to cruising after more than a year of coronavirus restrictions.
This is yet another sign in the resurgence of our economy post-pandemic.
For months, officials have been working with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to bring the industry back.
Clearly, with vaccination rates going up, infection rates coming down, the CDC really feels like it's time to start opening, and working together, we've come up with a way to do that in a safe way.
Holland America Line President Gus Antorcha says to get cruising again, the CDC wants employees vaccinated, and with the help of Sharp Healthcare, now more than 500 crew members have gotten their shots.
They very much wanted to ensure that their crew were absolutely safe, and because they're ensuring their crew's safe, they're ensuring that our passengers are safe.
These vaccinations represent a return to normal for the cruising industry, and soon, instead of vaccinations happening in this room, it'll be full of passengers getting ready to set sail.
Another health precaution, all passengers will have to prove they are vaccinated. That also means no wearing masks or social distancing on board.
We've wanted to make it 100% normal for our guests. Full food and beverage operations, entertainment operations running. We have taken significant precautions with the back of the house as well as with our crew. Our crew initially will be wearing masks. We've also upgraded our HVAC systems.
Starting in September, there will be more than 40 Holland America cruises to Mexico, Hawaii, and along California's coasts. Ships like this can accommodate more than 2,500 passengers, but officials will gradually scale up capacity.
Initially, we're going to start with 50-60% capacity. We'll see between now and September, and then we'll take it up from there. I think by the fall, we'll probably be operating closer to 100%.
The Port of San Diego estimates every cruise ship brings in around $2 million in revenue for the local economy.
Passengers stay in our hotels, they eat in our restaurants, they shop in our stores.
Over the last 14 months or so, cruise ships have been anchored off the coast of California, coming into port just once a month for fuel and supplies. There are 4 other cruise lines that operate here, but at least one has said it does not plan to offer any trips this year.
If we have 70 or 80 calls this year, that's lower than pre-pandemic. But that's a pretty good start in terms of getting back the business and recovering from zero.
Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
Another blow to businesses along the border. The Department of Homeland Security extended non-essential travel restrictions through July 21st. The COVID restrictions have been in place since March 2020. The San Ysidro Chamber of Commerce says 95% of its customers come from Mexico. 197 of the 800 businesses in the region have closed in the past 15 months. It's not known if the restrictions will be extended past July 21st. 2 wildfires that started in San Diego County over the weekend are still active. Crews are making progress on the Overland Fire in a small desert community east of Mount Laguna and the Clevenger Fire in Ramona. So far, there have been no evacuations, loss of life, or property. KPBS reporter Melissa May has the latest.
Fire Captain Frank Lococo from CAL FIRE San Diego describes the current wildfire situation.
We're very optimistic for both fires. They're making great progress, and we'll still be out at the Overland for probably a few more days, and the Clevenger through the day and possibly the evening.
The Overland Fire started east of Mount Laguna in Canebrake in temperatures around 114 degrees. It is currently 25% contained and burned 515 acres.
That specific fire was extremely difficult to access via ground. We did have to insert a lot of our ground forces via helicopter or via a pickup truck ride and a hike into it. It's very, very remote. very rugged, and it was extremely warm.
The San Pasqual area is also dealing with the Clevenger fire that has burned 50 acres and is currently 50% contained.
Extremely steep terrain. We were able to attack it aggressively with both air and ground resources and really keep it in check before it grew too large.
Monitoring wildfires is a collective effort. CAL FIRE works with the county, local fire departments, the sheriff's department, and the National Weather Service. And the community plays an important role too.
We get, inundated with 911 calls with folks throughout the county who either see or smell smoke and call to start that dispatch system.
The San Diego County Sheriff's Department supplied CAL FIRE with their Astrea helicopter and made water drops to control the Overland fire. Technology also plays a major role in combating wildfires.
We also have an excellent series of cameras throughout the county, and you can actually access those through alertwildfire.org, and that allows us to try to get eyes on the fire even before some of our ground resources get there.
The National Weather Service provides direct support through current and predicted weather conditions of an exact location. They also use a satellite to detect hotspots, and it updates every 5 minutes.
They can detect wildfires, basically. They can detect hot areas anywhere 24/7, nighttime, daytime, and they can detect them as small as 3 to 5 acres in size.
At least one of the weekend's fires was detected early by the satellite. Alex Tardy is the warning coordination meteorologist at the National Weather Service San Diego. He says wildfires could have been a lot worse this weekend.
When we talk about temperatures that hot in the backcountry, where all that fuel and vegetation is, if there is a start, it's going to burn rapidly. We're lucky, that we had minimal wind. Otherwise, we would be talking about fires, 5 times as large.
Potential for wildfires will remain high for this season due to the high temperatures, drought, and extremely dry brush. Melissa May, KPBS News.
San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria today signed into law a budget that he hopes will get the city's economy back on track and back to work. The city faced a projected budget deficit of $124 million, but an increase in expected revenue and nearly $300 million in federal relief funds over the next 2 years closed the gap.
I'm proud that we're making investments that are necessary for our city, specifically to foster an equitable recovery from our COVID-19 pandemic, particularly for our small businesses. This budget also includes tremendous increases in funding to address homelessness with more services and outreach. It prioritizes road repair, but with a particular focus on our underserved neighborhoods.
The budget also includes a $23 million increase for the San Diego Police Department, despite dozens of calls asking the council to defund the department's overtime allocation. The CDC is investigating an increase in reports of a cardiac condition in young people who have gotten the COVID-19 vaccine. 8 teenage boys in San Diego reported chest pain after their shots. The county's public health department is working with state and federal officials to investigate the suspected cases. A link between the heart condition and the vaccine has not been confirmed. And as Mandy Gaither reports, the CDC is still urging young people to get the shot.
It's a condition called myocarditis, an inflammation of the heart muscle. The body's immune system causes the swelling in response to an infection or some other trigger. Since April, the CDC says more cases of myocarditis have been reported in the U.S., especially in young people who have gotten either the Moderna or Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine.
These are very rare cases, and in addition, they are mild.
The CDC says most myocarditis cases have been in males 16 years and older, the onset typically within several days after a Pfizer or Moderna vaccination. Cases have appeared more often after the second dose than the first. Symptoms can include chest pain, shortness of breath, or palpitations. In most cases, the CDC says patients who have gotten myocarditis have responded well to medications and rest.
To our knowledge, no one has died from this heart inflammation. It tends to be transitory, so it lasts for a period of time, but then it goes away and people generally fully recover.
While the CDC is still investigating these cases, some parents may be concerned about their child getting vaccinated. However, U.S. health experts experts say COVID-19 should scare you more.
For kids 12 and older who are eligible to receive the vaccine, if I had a child in this age range, I would absolutely get them vaccinated today.
The CDC continues to recommend COVID-19 vaccination for everyone 12 years of age and older. The agency's director saying the benefits of vaccination overwhelm the rare risk of myocarditis. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
An apology tonight from Coronado's school district after people at its high school threw tortillas at basketball players from an Escondido campus. Cell phone video shows what happened after the playoff game Saturday night between Coronado High and Orange Glen High School. Orange Glen's coach told our media partner, KGTV, that before the incident, words were exchanged between the two head coaches, which left emotions running high.
Hard enough losing a state championship. To me, it was just flat out a racist act. I mean, when we're at a school that's has a high population of Hispanic and Latinos, and you're taking bags of tortillas and you're throwing them in our direction.
Coronado's superintendent says those responsible for the incident will be held accountable. Coronado police are also investigating. So is the CIF, the agency that governs high school sports in California. It's the first day of summer school in San Diego, and students can do a lot more than get ahead on their classes. San Diego Unified is expanding its Level Up program this year by working with dozens of private community groups. Paula Richardson is one of the county's Teachers of the Year. This was her reaction when asked to take part at her newly renovated Wilson Middle School in City Heights.
I was like, yes, let's do this now. And I'm so excited to be able to use this beautiful Performing Arts Center and my beautiful new classrooms and bring students in here to kick off this new campus and really reconnect with each other and come together to make music and make art and perform again together.
The Level Up program includes in-class instruction in the mornings. In the afternoon, kids take part in specialized group activities like music, sports, and science. The San Diego City Council recently approved a high-density project for an abandoned golf course in Rancho Penasquitos. It's part of the city's plan to solve the housing crisis. Some residents worry the added traffic congestion would delay evacuation in a fire-prone area. KPBS's Alexander Nguyen has more.
The fire safety and evacuation plans in place are not enough to serve the community today.
This is the Millennium PQ project. Right above that is the old Doubletree Golf Resort. That's where the city approved a plan to build more than 500 high-density homes. And residents here say the city didn't take into account the fire danger.
The development is known as the Junipers. It will add 536 units to Rancho Penasquitos. It is next to two existing projects, the nearly complete 601-unit Pacific Village and a 331-unit Millennium PQ. In total, it will add more than 3,000 cars to the area. Kate Glenn is the Rancho Penasquitos Town Council president. She's worried the added congestions would affect wildfire evacuations, making it harder for residents to leave quickly.
It's just an incomplete option for future growth.
In the past 20 years, Rancho Penasquitos was evacuated at least 5 times. Lennar Homes is the Juniper's developer. In a statement to KPBS, Lennar's San Diego Division President Ryan Green says this project was a result of 5 years of outreach with residents, and the project has undergone rigorous and thorough environmental review and won unanimous approval from both the Planning Commission and the City Council. Lennar plans to add 3 new emergency access routes that it says will cut evacuation times in half. One of those proposed routes is between Andorra Way and Corte Raposo.
It was added as a last-minute requirement. Right now it is about 18 feet across, and the plan calls for it to be extended to about 24 feet. Still, residents says it's not enough to deal with the fire danger.
Ronald Askelin is with the Penasquitos Northeast Action Group. His group is a vocal opponent of the project. He says the area's infrastructure has not kept up with developments.
So what you're seeing right here is 40-year-old infrastructure, one way in, one way out, not a whole lot different than Paradise as far as an evacuation scenario.
His group wants road improvements and a second exit to the 15th freeway for a speedy evacuation. Penasquito Council member Marnie Von Wilbert says her concerns were eased after the city's fire department says the project will improve fire evacuation. Still, she lobbied for the emergency evacuation route at Andorra Way.
I required that to be completed first to the satisfaction of our city engineer before anyone can move into the project.
Residents says they are not against development. They just want it done the right way.
Some residents are looking to challenge the environmental impact report. In Rancho Penasquitos, Alexander Nguyen, KPPS News.
Governor Gavin Newsom and lawmakers are negotiating whether to extend the state's ban on evictions for unpaid rent. Federal and state eviction protections expire on June 30th. Newsom has proposed using federal coronavirus funds to pay off back rent still owed. San Diego County implemented an even stricter eviction ban, which will remain in place until August 14th. That's 60 days after the state reopened on June 15th. The Biden administration has dubbed today Child Tax Awareness Day of Action to make sure families know about the federal program. The credit funded by the American Rescue Plan Act is only for the current tax year. Payments are worth up to $300 a month for each child under 6 and $250 for each child age 6 through 17. Those start going out on July 15th. Almost all families who have filed taxes in the last 2 years will receive this credit automatically.
What we know is when more families know about the relief that is included in the American Rescue Plan, when more families know about how they can get the relief, that is how we will be able to lift our children out of poverty. That is how we will lift up our nation's middle class as well.
In a few weeks, the IRS will open a tool to let families opt out of receiving the advanced monthly payments in favor of collecting the entire expanded credit at tax time. Even though California is in an extreme drought, local officials say San Diego's water supply is protected through the summer of 2045. The San Diego County Water Authority says 30 years of investments in diversifying the region's water supply through desalination, conservation, and other efforts have ensured that there will be enough water to meet local needs for decades. Even so, officials are urging residents to remain water smart by turning off the faucet while brushing their teeth, fixing water leaks, and using hoses with automatic shutoff nozzles.
We're finally starting to feel a little bit of a change in terms of how hot it's been over the last couple of days, at least for some of you near the coast. You'll get a little bit of comfort and some cooler temperatures. It's not quite as hot as it has been also for most of you. Now in the desert, it's still going to stay sizzling, and it's also unfortunately likely going to remain dry. Temperatures for tonight in the metro dropping off to 65 degrees with increasing cloud cover. You'll notice that marine layer really building back in. Oceanside upper 50s for you. Escondido also getting down to the upper 50s. Chula Vista getting down to 63 degrees. Some really mild temperatures though still out in the desert region. I mentioned that marine layer still really thickening up, and you can see it here through the overnight period. So that means some fog possible through the early morning hours and also some low-hanging clouds there, but the sunshine will be back on your Tuesday afternoon. You'll see that it's still, again, hot for the interior sections, but much more comfortable near the coast. Temperatures on your Tuesday afternoon getting up into the triple digits out towards Borrego Springs. El Cajon, upper 80s for you, low 90s towards Ramona. And then on Wednesday, that's when we start to see that next wave of low pressure coming on in, bringing in the onshore flow here. So that means the marine layer will stay strong, but still talking about some really warm temperatures for the interior sections there of the southwest. So near the coast, not a whole lot of changes here over the next couple of days. Temperatures generally sitting in the low to mid 70s, which is much cooler than where we were just last week. Further inland, again, not much change here, low to mid 80s. It does look like we could see a little bit of a warm up here though as we head towards next weekend. By Saturday, temperatures could be back close to 90 degrees for those daytime highs. In the mountains, upper 70s out there for tomorrow, and then temperatures drop off quite dramatically into the upper 60s for Thursday. Low 70s for Friday, a warm up as we head into Saturday, and not much change in the desert. Triple digits on the way over the next 5 to 7 days. For KPBS News, I'm meteorologist Jessica Pash.
The Supreme Court has dealt a significant blow to the NCAA. The justices unanimously ruled in favor of a group of college athletes who sued for violation of antitrust laws. Currently, the NCAA only allows schools to pay for expenses related to their education. That means they don't receive any of the billions of dollars made from ticket sales, TV contracts, and merchandise featuring them. Justice Brett Kavanaugh wrote, quote, "Nowhere else in America can businesses get away with such actions." More and more women are buying and shooting guns. KPBS reporter Alexandra Rangel recently spent time with a group that is working with women who are arming themselves for protection. We should warn you, this story shows people shooting guns.
Not Me SD is our initiative to stop domestic violence and sexual assault.
It's women mentoring women through the male-dominated world of firearms.
Today we have 10 ladies who are learning how to shoot. It's a variety of experience levels. Some of them have never touched a gun before.
San Diego County gun owners launched the initiative Not Me SD 2 years ago. It's a program focused on helping women protect themselves and their loved ones. Every woman who goes through the training is paired with a female mentor who teaches them everything from learning how to shoot a gun to gun safety, as well as the steps it takes to apply for a concealed carry weapons permit.
But what we're doing is leveraging our expertise as gun owners to be able to help increase women's ability to stop domestic violence and sexual assault.
Wendy Hoffman, the director of Not Me SD, says the program stemmed from her own experience.
I didn't know where to start. I didn't know what to do. There's just so many questions to ask. You know, even figuring out what questions to ask was really complicated.
Hoffman says the program sparked even more interest during the pandemic.
So we definitely saw a huge increase during the pandemic. Women who were on the fence about gun ownership realized that they needed to be able to take their safety into their own hands.
Following a global pandemic and political unrest, 2020 saw the biggest increase in gun sales. The National Shooting Sports Foundation estimates 8.4 million people bought a firearm for the first time last year, and nearly half of those buyers were women. Hoffman says it's women from all walks of life that are wanting to learn about gun ownership.
Young women who are, in their early 20s. We've got older women who are in their 80s who are living alone and really need to be able to protect themselves.
In just 2 years, Not Me SD has helped 320 women become gun owners, and that number is expected to grow. The program is so popular that spots to participate get filled up to 6 months in advance.
Just being a woman nowadays and just feeling like I need that extra source of protection.
Janine Abdullah has been wanting to buy a gun for a while. After hearing about Not Me SD, she decided it was time to learn more about firearms.
More women should take more steps to protect themselves and be at least comfortable being around firearms. And I don't think nowadays enough women are.
Melissa Morris, a firearm instructor and mentor for the program, says it's all about arming women with the knowledge and empowerment.
I see their fear diminish, their confidence increase, and their skill level improve.
Morris says it's not uncommon for women to be nervous about gun ownership, especially when they're coming out of a domestic violence relationship. Deputy District Attorney and President of the Domestic Violence Council, Claudia Grosso, says there was a 3% increase in domestic violence cases last year. That's more than 17,600 cases reported to law enforcement in just 1 year.
We fear that as we open up more and more, we are going to get those victims that are going to report those cases that happened during the shutdown when they were not able to report and were, in essence, trapped in the home.
Although self-defense isn't one of the main focal points of the Domestic Violence Council, they do provide resources to help victims overcome their trauma.
Leap to Success is one that is basically empowerment classes, and not necessarily self-defense, but more empowerment, how to assert yourself, how to basically say, this is what I want.
Grosso also encourages victims to have a safety plan. Tips like carrying a cell phone and having a safety word in case you need help.
If you don't even want to own a firearm, but you just think that it would be helpful for you to know how to safely operate one, then this is a perfect place to learn that.
Those interested in learning more about the free program can visit notmesd.com. Alexandra Rangel, KPBS News.
I'm Judy Woodruff. Tonight on the NewsHour, game change. The Supreme Court rules college athletes can receive additional education-related benefits. Coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
Here's another look at today's top stories. The cruise industry is returning to San Diego in September, bringing thousands of visitors to our region. Holland America Lines announced it is returning after more than a year of coronavirus restrictions. All passengers will have to prove they are vaccinated. That means no wearing masks or social distancing on board. The CDC also wants employees vaccinated. Today, Sharp Healthcare administered shots to more than 500 crew members. 2 wildfires broke out in San Diego County over the weekend. The Overland Fire started east of Mount Laguna and has burned 515 acres. The Clevenger Fire started in the San Pasqual area and burned 50 acres. The National Weather Service said San Diego is helping firefighters with weather conditions in exact locations. And they use a satellite to detect hotspots with updates every 5 minutes. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thank you for joining us, and have a great evening.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley. And by the following: and by viewers like you. Thank you.